Traders, Matt from the Trade Brigade here doing a technical analysis on ticker symbol ZM for Zoom video conferencing. On the left-hand side, we have the daily time frame, and on the right-hand side, we have the 30-minute intraday time frame. This, of course, will be more of an update since we did cover it on the earnings gap down headed into today's session, and there are some things I at least want to talk about with you. First one is if we turn on the extended hour session and just zoom in, regardless of how you played this one here, you would have had a very risk-friendly entry in my opinion. Sure, you would have been stopped out. Now, if you want to get very technical, sure, the opening drive was higher here. Technically, we never, made the move lower to reject the overnight low, trade back up through the open. That setup didn't present itself, but regardless, even if you did just jump in long at the open expecting that gap to fill, or at least 50% of it, just think about the potential reward, right, up here, and then your stop out point, which should have been back underneath the overnight low. So say your entry was at the open. Again, just look at this in terms of risk reward, right? This is why we essentially use that framework, okay? So that's why we talk about it. It's not going to play out every single time, but it's going to keep you in the game longer than just buying and hoping and just throwing darts, okay? So that's why we bring it up in the first place. What are we going to do about Zoom, though, going forward here now that we have essentially sideways activity on today's session? So let's go ahead and take a better look at the, what unfolded today. If we do something like that, you can clearly see that the first 30-minute range was the entire day's range. So all I want to do is talk about a couple of things. So from the Fibonacci perspective, you can see that we started to close weak. We got some major upper wicks forming at the 61.8, and obviously we closed underneath. So that's the first thing that to me would start to signal some downside activity. The second thing would be a little bit more speculative here, which is why on a major gap down would anyone who is not invested in Zoom not buy this as a potential upside speculation? And again, that's more of a rhetorical question. It's simply, if people aren't excited about buying it here, it has room to fall lower, right? If there aren't any interested buyers, and that's just one more potential speculative reason on why it could go lower. I'm not saying it has to, but that would be, again, another feather in the cap for the bears in this instance. I think the only thing that you should pay attention to on Zoom going forward, though, would simply be today's high and today's low, because nothing is going to happen unless we break either of those levels. From the daily perspective, you can see that if we take out the high at 295.84, we're looking at 302 structure just above, and then really I would say that you're monitoring for a 50% gap fill of this overall range, and you can see that's close to 317.60. So that's quite a hefty trade if it starts to unfold all in one go. That, of course, would be the upside play, and as we mentioned, we are favoring downside, so let's talk more in depth about those potential levels. To the downside, breaking today's low does put into play 286. That is support just underneath, and I would say if that goes, it opens the door to 275, in which case that would be the next place where I would really start looking for daily hammers, any sort of indecision dojis, basically anything that would make you question, is this pullback after the gap down? Is this massive selling pressure starting to ease? Can we flip long over the highs and get back up and into some of the targets which we've outlined in today's video? So again, favoring some downside, but the only two levels to really watch are today's high and today's low. Those will unlock either higher or lower levels. It's as simple as that here inside of Zoom, favoring the downside here. So if you enjoyed the update, if you enjoyed today's video, let me know in the comments section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget our main channel is linked in the description, and all of that being said, I wish you a green trading week.